Good afternoon, students. My name is Babalos Bango, one of the lecturers for this module. I believe we've met before. So today I will be discussing exam guidelines, especially the question number 4, which is on film theory and criticism. I'll just be giving some guidelines on what is expected for you from you in this section. This section is basically out of 35 marks, and by now you should have progressed with your portfolio because the due date is up soon and the portfolio is a lot of work. So by now you should be on the 3rd section or working on this question, on the 4th question or on the 3rd question, because there are various topics that you have to work through. So this film theory is question number 4, and it is out of 35 marks. Again, you've already been told about the importance of paying attention to mark allocation and, write accordingly. For a question that is 5 marks, certain amount of writing, or it's at least a paragraph or 2 is expected. So follow those guidelines as given by the module coordinator, and also in terms of referencing. So I won't be discussing those technical aspects. So for this question, you're expected to write an essay discussing the 3 types of film theories as distinguished by the theorist Sergei Eisenstein. This author, again, is in your prescribed book on this chapter on film theory and criticism. Again, here I highlighted the fact that it's an essay, meaning no bullet points allowed or even expected on this section. And then your essay must contain a detailed theoretical discussion of these 3 types of film theories, and this discussion must be accompanied by a practical application of the theory, where you have to analyze a film of your choice, a film that from 2011 and beyond, anything, from 2011 and beyond, after 2010, analyzing the film based on these theories. And then you can see that as in any essay, you are expected to have an introduction and then a brief overview of a film that you have that you are going or have decided to analyze. Remember, all this is your choice. And then and then you must provide a discussion of the 3 types of film theories as distinguished by this film theorist, Eisenstein, and then analyze a film of your choice, applying this theory, and this will be out of 6 marks. So you have to apply all these 3 theories. Just a minute. And then your conclusion is 2 marks, and then after that, 4.3, you're using the same film, you have to conduct a critical analysis of this film using 2 kinds of criticism as distinguished by Deputer in your prescribed book. Again, this author is in your prescribed book on the section on the chapter on film theory and criticism. This will be out of 6 marks. And because it's 2 kinds of criticism, so you'd 6 divided by 2, 3 marks for each kind of criticism, and then they again use the mark allocation to guide yourself on how much to write. Okay, there are 3 types of film theories according to Eisenstein, and these are total short theories or establishing short theories, medium short theories, and close-up theories. And the name gives away on what each of these types of theories focus on. With the total short theories or establishing short theories, for example, the focus is on the overall picture of the scene, or we could even say a social scene, and you'll see why say that as we carry on. The emphasis is on the social context of a film, on the context in which film is made. Such a social context could include, firstly, the country, the political environment, for instance, such as films made under apartheid and post-apartheid. And then the influence of the current economic climate remember Ingleba, one of the films that caused a bit of chaos in South Africa, where people protested and didn't want the film out. So they protested because they felt that it violated the norms associated with the culture of circumcision in the, more especially among the people of the Eastern Cape, the African people of the Eastern Cape. So yeah, people were offended. Leaders, traditional leaders, and mostly men were offended by these films. So certain films will be offensive, for instance, if they're considered racist or sexist or violating the rituals that are considered sacred. For instance, even in terms of religion, certain films would be found as offensive by either Christians or Muslims and other, or even Jews in the country. So you have to pay attention to the context to know what film would be considered offensive. And then, as I said earlier, total short of these establishing should look at the overall social context and how the economic climate influenced the film industry. And typical questions that are asked, these are listed in your prescribed book. The typical questions that are asked in total short theories, or these establishing short theories are, for instance, what are the effects of apartheid on the content and form of South African films then in 1994? What are the effects of apartheid on South African industry, film industry? What are the effects of the post-apartheid government? Because these are the questions now. After apartheid, what are the effects of the current political climate on content and form of South African films? For instance, how many filmmakers would really portray film that criticize the current government, that expose corruption and all that is going on now in the country, and how our films are influenced by religion, or how religion influenced film, how are films affected by social institutions, e.g. censorship. For instance, with the Inglaba, traditional institutions that deal with tradition and culture, for instance, would stand against any film that show rituals considered sacred, even though we now see gogos like Gogoma and Sangomas on TV. We see the show such practices are considered sacred and others are critical of this exposure on television. So that is what establishing short theories focus on. How do politics affect film, and how does technology affect film? So that is what a film analyst or a film theorist using this type establishing short theories would focus on the social, political, and the economic context in which films are produced. For instance, films produced that are acceptable in South Africa in a democratic country compared to a film in a religious country. There would be difference on the type of films that will be accepted, and also the politics in the country, censorship. They can be in democratic societies, the censorship is not overt, but everybody knows that if you want money, there's certain people you can criticize. For instance, the corporate sector, you cannot criticize government. So for filmmakers, especially the upcoming filmmakers, would hardly go against unless they have their own funding. So in their case, it would be you can't bite the hand that feeds you. So you would have to, suck up to the government, suck up to the billionaires and the millionaires of the country, and also the history of colonialism and apartheid has influenced filmmaking in terms of how people are represented, the topics and the themes that filmmakers address. For instance, Tsotsi, that addresses crime in South Africa and Jerusalem, we had films that address interracial marriages. These marriages were unacceptable under apartheid and colonialism. So now that they're accepted in post-apartheid South Africa, certain films I've looked at, such as there's a film titled, I think it was published 2009, titled I Pronounce You Black and White. It's basically a story of a couple, mixed race couple. One is white, the other one white and also Jewish, and the other one is black and Christian. So this is this it looks at how their families responded to their to their relationship and the marriage and the conflicts that came up. And again, you'd look at this film within the context of our history and the new laws that now allow people to marry across all races and genders and religions. With medium short theories, as the name suggests, the demarcation, according to Fourie, the demarcation of a specific aspect of a sin, but not enough detail as you would get in long short theories. The focus is between the film and its public, and also human relationships in the film, such as conflicts between characters. So here the theory is zooming closer, more on the film, and focus on specific aspects of a scene, but not enough detail as close-up theories, which I will discuss right now. Again, the typical questions that are asked in medium short theories are such as how are people depicted, the kind of human relationships that are depicted in this film. For instance, we have in the example of a film I gave earlier, I pronounced it black and white. We have interracial couple and families in conflict because of this relationship. And then another question is how are racial, cultural, or racial groups depicted? And here, this is where now analysts or theorists pay attention to whether groups are portrayed stereotypically in line with the racial stereotypes or gender stereotypes, which in that film was really, I mean, it really portrayed groups in line with the stereotypes and social norms of what is expected of a woman, for instance, in a marriage, to cook, and husband to be served the dinner or the lunch. So there's medium short theories pay attention to such. And then last is the close-up theories. These close-up theories pay attention to detail. So when studying this chapter, for instance, you have to study it in together with chapter 5 on visual text analysis by Duploy, because here she gives you tools that you can use to analyze a theory in more detail, looking, for instance, at lighting, colors, shorts, and all the like codes of content and codes of form, auditory codes, visual codes. Please go through that chapter. It will help you in your in analyzing your theories. Your film generally for all the questions where you are asked to analyze a film. So these are close-up theories focuses on detail, emphasis is on different components of a film, such as I said, lighting, the kind of lighting used, medium shot with the zooming in, zooming out, again, read through the codes of content and the meaning that is conveyed, or the semiotics of a film, according to Forey. So finite details are considered, like color, lighting, as I mentioned earlier, and questions asked are questions related to form, to content, and the meaning created and conveyed by the film. So you really have to conduct a visual text analysis of a film, or a semiotic analysis in order to decipher or to find out what meaning is being created and conveyed, for instance, through use of various colors, zooming in on the face of a person who's angry or crying or happy, the voice, the pitch, and all of that. Again, the guidelines for analyzing a film are available in your, especially to analyze what you call the close-up, visual details and auditory details, such as voice and stuff, are available. Read this in conjunction with your chapter 5. And then again, I said select a film, like as I gave an example of that film, I pronounce you black and white, and then you can analyze it in terms of all, I could analyze it in terms of all these three theories, looking at the social context, the relationships, and how groups are presented. And as I said here, all racial groups, where actors came from all 4 racial groups, actually. And in most of the cases, they were presented stereotypically in most of the cases. And it was very rarely where you would see a person acting differently from what is expected of a specific race or gender. And there's also a class factor when we look at the couple, this interracial couple. The lady speaks modestly English, which tells us that she's an educated person. But although her parents come from township, it looks like advanced economically. So yes, so this tells us something also about class. The parents speak Black Standard English variety. South African English is basically grouped according to, whether you speak Standard English, which would be your British accents, or American accents, or people who just basically did your Model C kids, or people who came out of Model C schools would speak English differently from someone who had studied in rural and township schools. And this tells us something about their class. Again, read through these theories, make sure that you understand the questions that are asked by each of these types of film theories, and then apply it to a film of your choice. And here you could even select a film that you've already watched before, any post-2010 film that you've watched, so that you conduct an analysis. Because if it's a film you even watched before, you might get lost in the story and enjoy the story and forget that you have to analyze and pay attention to detail. And then the next question, where you have to identify and discuss the two types of criticism. And then let me just go back to the question. So here you have to conduct a critical analysis using the two kinds of criticism, and then your analysis should demonstrate that you understand these types of criticism. So these two types of criticism are basically a film criticism that focuses on the story of a film. And here you could conduct a narrative analysis of the film. Read chapter 7 of your already, you have done a narrative analysis or have read through in your assignments. And even there's a question. So you should understand the phases, narrative phases as discussed by Wixton. So you could use this when you focus on the story of a film, conduct a simple analysis, a simple narrative analysis, focusing on these four narrative phases as discussed by Wixton, such as exposition, climax, and so forth. Then that's the first type of criticism. It focuses on the story of a film. The second type focuses on technical aspects. Again, deploy here would come in handy when you want to focus on color, lighting, and all the technical aspects, pictures, and so forth. Again, remember, this is out of 6 marks, so you dedicate a paragraph to the first time. Criticism, again, go back to the same film that you have selected to analyze and then apply these two kinds of criticism to that theory and give us a description of your criticism, telling us what does the story look like, the exposition, the climax, the resolution, and then technical aspects, the colors used, the lighting, and other technical technologies used. Again, your chapter 4 here would come, your chapter 5, your visual text analysis would come in handy. So basically, this is what is expected of you when you discuss these two kinds of criticism. And then should you have any questions on this section, I will be available to answer you. Again, as I said, it is always better to watch a film that you have watched so that now you watch as an analyst, not watch as anybody who's out there to just enjoy the film. Even though when we watch a film, even for enjoyment, we do pick up certain things that are questionable. We can pick up its ideology. We can pick up if a film supports a specific political party, for instance. So yeah, just select a film that you really like and enjoy, and have watched before, or watch it twice, first to enjoy, secondly to conduct analysis. And all the best with your exam. I'll be here for any questions on this section. The module coordinator, Mr. Dichaba, there will be another class next week giving further guidelines on the entire portfolio. I wish you all the best with this portfolio, with this section. I expect 100%, so all the best. Thank you.